Hi, friends. I'm Rebecca Kastl. I'm the accidental mystic. I had a big spiritual experience in my 20s, what I call a spiritually transformative experience, when I spontaneously or accidentally devoted my life to God in my journal. And I had all these things happen to me. And now every Thursday, which is today, I talk about all the things I've been thinking about or things I've been going through on this journey, which is like never, ever, ever ending. Ugh, sorry. Anyone else feel me? Okay, so this week this is a highly personal video, probably one of the most personal, but at this point I'm like I asked Betty, like, I don't even know if I should talk about this. And Betty is extremely public, and I just think this is valuable for anyone who's been through trauma, because my whole spiritual experience started because I was healing from trauma, and I was really just trying to feel my heart and feel better. Um it's interesting, before I get to the topic, like when I have had people like book with me who want to have a spiritual experience like I had, they want to see things like, or maybe they just want to know how loved they are, because I wasn't trying to have one. I just wanted to feel my heart. Like I said at 23, I want to heal all the way. And I just started trying to feel my heart, and I wanted to heal, 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 heal. And like then I like wrote this promise to God that like it did make me see some things, and like but it also made me know how loved I was. But it was really, the whole point was to like realign my heart and to like make me actually feel better, which I really did. But then I have to keep living. Like I thought I would be done living after my spiritual experience ended. Some I know I've talked about this, but then I was like, oh, now I have to keep living, and I keep having to go through things, and like life doesn't just stop having hard things. Anyway, I guess that's what the whole swimming thing was at the end of my spiritual experience with that dream. Um, so one thing I'm gonna talk about today is after death communication and a session I had with a medium. So I hope that's okay with y'all. I know I have like so many different kinds of followers and friends, and it really means a lot that we can all be here together and share. But I don't know if that makes you uncomfortable. I'm sorry. You don't have to watch this one, but I had an extremely healing experience with a dear friend of mine, who has been really called into doing work with loved ones on the other side. And she's extremely beautiful. She's extremely faithful, tuned in, like loving. And I'm not going to go into all of that kind of stuff. That's a whole nother topic. But anyway, it was very beautiful. And so I'm going to be part of a case study and potential research study about this, related. So, okay, trigger warnings, content warning. Um, I was sexually assaulted when I was 13, basically woke up on the laundry room floor, these people watching in the doorway, and like four boys over me assaulting me. And I didn't know why. Like, people are like, oh, I was like, didn't know why I was on the floor. I didn't know why people were staring at me. Like, this is like, I feel like people know these stories from the male perspective, but this was my perspective. And it's been hard to talk about, but it's also very empowering. It's something I've started to talk about because I shouldn't be ashamed. Like I felt so ashamed, like I'd done something awful to like wake up on the floor. But now like watching all these women testify, like the people who did this should be ashamed. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to carry that shame anymore. So anyone who's sexually assaulted or like who's been traumatized, like male or female, there's just so many ways that we've all gone through horrible things. You don't have to be ashamed. So the point is, this would happen to me when I was 13. And when I started sharing my story about my spiritual awakening, I was like, I'll talk about the spiritual happy things, but I'm never going to talk about why I was trying to heal, because it really is so much shame for me. But, then it was like, I don't know. It just like eventually was like, okay, I have to start talking about this. And like, I can't just keep like saying I had a trauma, which I do most of the time because it's just so much to go into. But anyway, okay. So you think my healing journey would be done. I did so much therapy. I even did inpatient therapy. Like I really was very blessed. Like as long as I'm focusing on healing, like in my spiritual journey and like God, my life is really good. So, but it's like this is your purpose. You must heal. So I've done all this. Like I really thought when I was 25, I was finished healing. Like because I had said, yeah, I want to heal all the way from this trauma, even though I've been dismissed from therapy. I really was dismissed from therapy. I really was told by therapists that I was fine, but it was internal that I didn't feel like I was fine. And that really was my spiritual side needing to be rebalanced. So I did do healing, and I was like, oh, I'm done healing. I'm like so happy now at 25. And then then I had my spiritual experience and it was like, oh, I was not done healing. This is like so much more like healing, like deeper levels of healing that I had to do with the light of God, the creator, which was like so much love and really brought out even more layers of like trauma healing. So, and then I was like, okay, done. But no. So, talking about it has been very like brought up a lot of stuff because it was a public trauma and I was made to feel very ashamed of myself. Like, so like whenever I share publicly, when I share at IANS, when I go on podcasts, even when I do this, it's like I'm doing my own form of, what is that called? Aversion therapy or something, where you like bring yourself into like the situation until you're not afraid. Cause it's like I'm bringing myself back basically through like the humiliation of my trauma every time I do this. So, um, I told you this is going to be personal. But what else I don't know. Everyone has dealt with stuff like this and no one talks about it. Maybe not sexual assault, but like your own kind of traumas. So anyway, fast forward, I've done all this healing. You guys know that. And then I'm talking about it. And then now, like, one thing about what happened to me is I didn't know, I only knew one of four of the boys' names. I didn't know anyone else who was, I was at my friend's house. It was a sleepover. It was her older siblings' friends who did this. And I never got any justice. Like one time I dated a lawyer and he was like, you need to sue the family. I'm like, I just never did that. It just never, like, I never did that. I never really, I was just like, this was just something I deal with on my own. But then last summer, my friend called and she's the friend whose house it happened at. We haven't really talked much. Like this happened when I was in 7th grade. And, uh, you know, everything just spiraled, but like she's on a healing journey too. And she is actually in the 12-step program. And she called me last summer, 2 summers, summer 2023. She's making amends. She wanted to make amends because she'd seen my talk. I'd started sharing was it summer? No, it must have been summer 2024, actually, because that was a year after I started talking. Anyway, sorry. Like, time is important. So she'd seen me talking about a trauma I had when I was 13, and she wanted to know if it was at her house. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, had nothing to do with this, but she is the only person who reached out and said sorry. And she said, I'm so sorry. Like, was it a gang situation? And I was like, yes. And we both really talked and we bonded. And like the one person whose name I knew, she's like, he died of a heroin overdose in 2015. So like I think I've mentioned this in a past video. I don't know how many of y'all are watching all of these, but I had like really had this like mental picture that I was doing all this healing and these 4 boys who I didn't know were going to do all this healing too. It was like, okay, well, I'm going to do all this healing and like it'll be okay because everyone's going to be healing and we're going to be doing so much better. And that was like when I found out he died of a heroin overdose like 10 years ago. I was like, okay, I guess like he was not healing. And who knows about the other people, because like my friend who called didn't know their names and doesn't know who they are either. And it's like, do I really want to get to do that? Like I really have this has been like such an internal personal thing for me. And like the people who did it just kind of almost stopped existing except for like the memories that I have of what I went through. Except that I was like, I'm sure they're healing too. Like they're probably on this great healing journey like I am. But no, at least for the one I know of, he had passed away. So this brings us to a couple weeks ago with my friend. Sorry, I did not do my hair for this one. With my friend, Julie Clough. I'm going to link her info. I hope she's okay with that. Julie, I hope that's okay. She's been really called into mediumship. And this has been a journey for her because, well, anyway, but she's just like, it's been something that she's feeling very led towards. And so I really wanted to support her and get a session with her. And I love her. Like I've done sessions with her like angel sessions before. She's so beautiful, such a loving person. And we booked the session, we started talking, and like lo and behold, the perpetrator comes through. So once I found out he'd passed away, like I was always like, I wonder if I should like try to connect. Like I definitely know how to connect to my loved ones. Like I'm in touch, like just soul level with my stepdad, and that's really it. I don't really, but he's like a helper, I guess, kind of like one of my angels. But I don't know. Maybe my great grandmother, who I never met, but she was from Hungary. She was really cool. Okay, so anyway, I was like, I'm not gonna try to connect to him but it was like I could kind of start to feel like once I found out he was, I could kind of like, oh, um, but obviously I never like that's just too much to deal with. But then in this session with Julie, and mind you, I have a lot of friends who do this work, and I get like sessions with people. I help them practice. I help them, like I think it's a beautiful modality. Sorry if you guys don't, but yeah, I am from New Orleans. I try to remind everyone of that. um, so anyway, so this guy comes through, and I'm not going to say his name. Obviously, I hate his name, but thankfully, I've never known anyone with that name again. Um, and what happens sometimes with this is like I had a friend from high school that passed away. We'd gone to preschool together. We were in high school together, and he's like a really loving person in my life. Like, and he comes through, and like right as he comes through, this perpetrator comes through, almost like she's like, "Oh, he's coming in behind him." And he's head down. He is so ashamed. He is completely just feeling like he keeps saying, sorry's not enough, sorry's not enough, sorry's not enough. And like Julie bursts into tears. I'm like definitely more defensive because I'm like, okay, like, what do you have to say to me? Like all the years I've been healing, like all the stuff I've gone through. And he's like, just started bringing like all this stuff through, like about how the family he came from, how he felt like abused by his family. Um, Not abused necessarily, but like I don't think his dad, something about his dad. I haven't rewatched the recording, but like he was mistreated or like really didn't feel at home in his family, or maybe he was abused. I don't know. Not sexually, but like kind of like a rougher upbringing, and then like found a group of boys that made him feel like he belonged. And then from there, like said stuff about how he'd seen how the women in his family were objectified and dehumanized, and like all of these things just kind of led to this this act, which I really just thought like it never crossed their minds again. Like I really, I wanted them to heal, but like I figured they probably didn't remember what happened. They probably don't remember me. Meanwhile, I've done like years of therapy and healing. Um, and he did remember, like from the other side. And so, he's 10 years on the other side now. He's gone through his life review. Um, and it was extremely healing and very powerful. And yeah, like Julie was crying. I was not crying because I was just like kind of shocked that this actually happened. Um, And Julie doesn't know any of this stuff about my life, or like one of the things you try to look for when you get sessions is you don't want people to know anything. And Julie knows me kind of well, but like not like that. And so it was pretty powerful, very powerful. And it felt like a soul level healing that he was able to come through and actually say sorry. Um, and I don't think he would have ever said sorry in his lifetime while he was alive, because I don't think he ever got any kind of awareness. But, when you're on the other side, you get a certain level of awareness. Um, so, like, I had just had this session, and then 2 weeks later, I'm in Virginia this past weekend. I do the talk at the Northern Virginia IANS group. And the woman who leads it is a psychologist, and she's amazing. And I'm always like, where were you guys like 20 years ago? Where were this kind of psychologist? But she leads the group, and she starts to tell me that she's working on a study, and she's looking, and it's going to be with a therapist and someone who is traumatized, and if they're and with a medium bringing through the person on the other side who traumatized them, because she's like, the study she's working on is only going to be with people who have the person who caused trauma on the other side. And I was like, wait, what? That's literally what just happened to me. Like the way spirit works is insane and incredible. I literally just did that. And so I started to tell her about it. In fact, I added a slide at the end of my talk to discuss this. And it was just really powerful. It was very beautiful. And I just talked with her and we are going to like I'm going to be part of a case study. And I was like, research, yay, because I used to love doing research, and I figured my research time is over now that I'm talking about my spiritual experiences. But no, I get to be the subject of a research study. Not this, but it is, it's what it is it's very powerful. If any of y'all have people who've hurt you on the other side, like it might, I don't know if it would be healing for you. But she's really looking to like legitimize this or like help bring people some healing. And so I'm very excited about that. As the end of this video, I hope this was interesting for y'all. I hope it also wasn't too heavy. Like I've done like so much healing. I'm like, how much more healing is there for me to do? Like literally. But this was just another level. But the thing that was so wild about that session, like I wasn't, I don't expect an apology from these people. Like I don't know. Like people. Okay, so oh yeah, I had one question for this guy. I was like, are the other three healing? Because that's like really, I really want them to be healing. I don't know their names. I don't know how to get in touch with them. I guess I could find my friend, find her brother, like start to ask questions, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't tell me if he did know. Um, and like what he said was that's not their path in this lifetime. So like sometimes you're not going to have somebody heal enough to like say sorry. Like of course all of us we're on a healing path. I'm sure you've hopefully already apologized to anyone you've ever hurt while you're alive, but there's some people that just die before that ever happens. Um so anyway, it was great. It was a really beautiful session, and I think it released or cleared something so deep in me that as soon as we finished that session, and it was at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, the day I was doing my seeker circle last month. And I usually get, I don't know, sometimes 4, sometimes 7 people coming to my seeker circle. And I think at that point, at like 3 o'clock on Wednesday, I'd had like 4 or 5 signups. And I was like, my seeker circle's at 6. And like, so as soon as we got off, I wasn't like advertising. I think my energy just shifted so much. It was like, I kept getting booking, booking, booking. And I had like 18 people in my seeker circle after that. It was pretty wild. It was a very beautiful evening, and it was really just so incredible. I think it released something very deep. Like it really healed something in me to have him come through and say sorry, because that never happened, obviously, in my lifetime. Um, Anyway, so that's my story about after death communication and healing from trauma. It's like a new level of healing. I will link Julie's information below. She's extremely affordable because she's just starting to put herself out there. She's so loving. And honestly, I think part of why he came through with her and no one else, because he's been dead for 10 years. I even had a reading with Suzanne Giesemann and he didn't come through. Um, I think it's just because Julie's like a true healer. Like she's so loving, she's so full of light, so peaceful. And like, I guess it was like a safe enough environment for whatever, for him to come through and say sorry. If you don't believe in that stuff, you're probably on the wrong channel. Sorry. Anyway, so it was really powerful. I think that's it. Yeah. And so the research study, I'll keep you posted. I'm really excited about that because that's like totally my kind of thing. And other than that, I love y'all so much. This was a really long video. I hope it wasn't too triggering for any of y'all, but healing is always possible. You are never alone. And the people who've hurt you eventually go through their life reviews and maybe they'll come say sorry. And I love y'all so much. I hope this was okay for y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.